Let's turn on the screen, and we are ready to begin. There we go. Let's go. Hope you guys are getting ready for the holiday coming up. Screen's on, recording is on, and let's move. So what do we got? Well, we're in a pretty precarious situation over here on the equities. Not looking to be the strongest currently. I'm still seeing, we bounced off this little trend line I had going on back here. It's like a long-term support resistance on the weekly chart. We did get the continuation of the sell-off over here, so we do have one of those morning star candles up here on the weekly, and we're pushing down, and I think we're still going to hit this thing down here. It looks like, if you ask me, I think we're going to see this 2650 area right over here on the daily. It looks like something that we're going to happen, I think, this week. So for now, I'm calling continued selling. At this point, it's going to become a major question of where they really want this thing to go after that. I'm still thinking we're going to rally out of here. There's going to be some kind of news event, something that's going to get us all to new all-time highs. But for now, the target is this. So there's still more weakness coming. It looks like we have another, I don't know, but another potentially 50 down to the beginning of the zone, and about 70 down to the to the bottom of the zone. But at some point, especially we have a shortened week, a holiday week coming up, there'll be light volume. They like to move things around a little bit. So I think we're going to actually see a touch of this zone coming this week over here for ES. After that, we'll talk about potentially, and depending on what it looks like and how it bounces and reacts off the zone, I will be able to get a better picture of what's going to happen next. I don't think we're going through this stone yet, but we are definitely going to touch it. It's a test of the 200 average down here, and you can see that. The selling over here, we got a pretty strong reaction off of this 240 zone again. So if we push back down again, and we get a little bit underneath, that's what I think we're looking at coming for potentially Monday, Tuesday. Tuesday's going to be a shortened session, by the way, because of the July 4th weekend. Wednesday, there's no holiday. There is a holiday, so we're not going to have a trading session. We're not going to have a webinar either. It's a holiday. But we will have a two-day trading session next week, probably Wednesday and Thursday, most probably. If anything changes, I'll let you know. But for now, that's what I'm looking at. I think Wednesday and Thursday next week. Not this week. The week after will be just 2 days of trading. Make up for the one that we missed. As far as the 60 chart is concerned, you could see that the supply over there is working so far. It's still working. The zone is back here. It's worked twice so far. This one over here. All right, once and twice, and now we're pushing down. So there's a little bit of demand over here. I think we're going to probably, we'll end up in here tonight at some point. But I think we're going to see another low down here, and we're going to get underneath there, and that puts us into that daily level, basically on the demand zone. And that's my target for now, this beginning part of the week. And then the reaction of that, again, will tell us what to expect after that. But for now, that's the target. So stay short. All right, another 50 or so points before we have a chance to rally out of that sucker. All right, let's look at NASI. On the weekly candle, you could see that we've got a continuation out of last week's doji to the downside. So again, some more weakness coming. And that would put us basically down here for the NQ. Right, we've gotten to this level of demand. We had a pretty nice bounce and stuff out of that. This is still looking like it's sort of a bear flag over here, and we're going to probably pop down and 6,800. I would say is probably the target for the NQ. All right, so another push down still coming over here. NQ has been stronger. We know that the sell hasn't been as bad, but once it starts going over there, we start taking out these lows on the ES, the NQ will do the same. So there's a really nice demand zone over here. You can see it was prior highs, really nice underneath all this basing. That's the spot it's aiming for. So I would call it 6,800, right? So shorts down into 6,800 still. It is still up, down, uptrend on the higher time frames, but we are definitely into some weakness on the lower time frames. So I think it's going to continue a little bit here, and we're looking at 6,800. Let's see how that looks over here on the 60 chart. Yeah, so you can see the last push up over here doesn't make a new high at all, and it continues to push back down, and we'll open up somewhere over here probably tonight, and then sometime tomorrow. Early Tuesday will be underneath those lows, and then we're into air, it looks like over here. Yeah. So there's a 69 little blip, but you can see this whole area back here is nothing really fantastic as far as demand is concerned. Right? I mean, this has just all been touched, stair step, stair step, stair step, stair step. You know, underneath that is where we're looking. And once we get down over there, it's not fresh. It's not, 1600 looks to be in place. So that's what I'm going to call for, 1600 on the NASDAQ for the downside. Okay. Anybody have an equity question? George has an equity question, or George has a question at least. Just go ahead, George. What can I do for you?
Good morning, Joe. I wanted to ask my question early. I still struggle with trend change and trend, and I thought if you came across an example or two during our analysis, we could point that out or go over it.
Sure.
I sent you an email, and I know you trade U.S., I trade TY, and I was looking at a downtrend. I thought it reversed. I was wrong. It was still a downtrend, but it threw me on between the 60 and the 15.
Okay, so I'll take a look at it as we get closer to the bonds. But yeah, sure, I just point out what I'm calling the trend over here. No problem. I'm glad. This is in a downtrend currently. Okay. Right now, this is a downtrend on the 60 for MQ, lower high. Then we get the lower lows right over here, and then we push up again. We're still making lower highs. So now the only way this is going to become an uptrend is if we push down, we make a higher low someplace over here, and then we make a higher high someplace over here. Until that happens, this is currently down. Okay, and I'll point that out as I go through the different categories. No problem. Okay, cool. And let's continue moving on to gold. Actually, crude first and then gold. Let's see. We know. Let's go take a look at what crude did for us this week. Oops. That's not what to do. There we go. Okay. Crude. Right. So a continuation big time off of the rally, right, for the last 2 weeks after we got that engulfer back on our weekly chart in the bottom right corner. We can see, a massive reversal coming out of the little channel and, a couple of weeks of dojis, and then it boom, boom, and then new highs, right? This last pivot over here brings us to new highs. We have closed the monthly candles as well. Look what the monthly candle on crude is looking like. That's a big-ass engulfing candle on the monthly chart. And what's exactly above us? Oh, yeah, nothing. Air. So we did reach some weekly supply, which we'll look at right now, sort of like the little level that's in between these two candles, right? And there's going to be some kind of little pausing, a little back test, something, but there's no reason at all to be short crude whatsoever at this point. I know I was talking about the summer getting us up to 75 or so. I think we have to maybe even adjust that further at this point. Let's zoom down a little bit over here and take a look. What the supply is on, I want to just take a look at what the supply is that we're looking at. So it's that doji candle basically, but it's a $4 candle on the weekly chart. It's huge, right? So can we get further? Absolutely. I mean, it goes all the way almost to 78. Okay, so it's fresh. We should have some kind of reaction out of it. We'll have to wait and see how it goes. But no question about trend here. Just about every single time frame is up. There's no question at all. And we have to buy pullbacks in demand. As crazy as it sounds, that's the way it works over here. We're in rally mode big time. So any pullback into a demand zone will give us an entry. At this point, we have new daily highs, right? And pullback into daily demand for sure will give us an entry, but that's a ways away. Further back, somewhere there should be some demand zone around 72-ish. Somewhere back there, as we start to look through the smaller time frames, there should be something that was created when we took out this high, somewhere over here, that will give us a pretty decent entry into the long, right? That's what we should see, a little pushback and then another high. So let's go see if we can find that level. Well, there it is on the 240. Let's try to narrow it down a little bit, but on the 240, the level's coming in somewhere around 71.66 to 72.27, right over here, where we base, and then shot out of that. That's the first area I'd be interested in getting long. Obviously, there's another one underneath it, a little bit lower, but I don't know how far we're going to pull back. We'll have to wait and see. What about on the 60? What do we got going on there? Yeah, so it's the same exact zone, almost identical. 71.66 to 72.20. If you want to, a little bigger, 38. But that's about it. 25, right around this area, underneath this basing with the leg in. That's where I'd be looking, and then obviously there's a bunch of dojis under here. So if we should pierce the 71.66, we'll start looking a little bit lower down. But pullbacks into demand. Look for the long. That's what we're calling for on crude. The target, as far as crude is concerned, for the next level up. Let's take a look at the next supply zone that we're working at. It's a ways away. Let's call it 76, it looks like, or so, something like that. Let's look at the zone. Gotta go back a couple of years till we get to the zones over here, right? There it is. So this one still has a little bit more room. The leg, I was drawing the wicks against the wall with the leg in, but technically I would say this is probably where I'd be more concerned. Around 75.33 or so for the next real chance of a major sell-off. So we have about another dollar or so before we're concerned. So any pullback would give us a target of about 75 plus for the next long. So 72 to 75 obviously is quite profitable. Nothing wrong with that. So we'll take a look and see how that plays out for us. But we're buying pullbacks in demand for crude. So far we're talking about selling short the equities in supply and looking for pullbacks in demand for crude. Okay, gold. So finally, we start to see some signs of life out of gold on some of the smaller time frames. Hasn't translated yet to the bigger time frames, but we landed in a weekly demand zone over here, and then we got this little engulfing candle on Friday for gold. Over here, the 240 engulfer showed up first. It's starting to look like symmetry to me down here, at least the beginning of what I would call symmetry, right? With the basing over here and over here, and then we have the big red candle here versus the big green candle here. The two little dojis are down here, which means we should be looking for something to push up into here, and then base, and then up out of that. So right now, the next move up is, another $5 or $6 at least into this supply zone up here. So we're looking at something like this, and then this, and then we should look, back like that. So gold, I think, is starting to begin its hold. We're due for a pretty good rally. I mean, we had a really strong sell-off like 2 weeks back, this big monster candle, and then we just dribbled, and very, very, very likely that we get a massive bounce out of this thing. So for me, I'm looking for longs. I started a long on Friday based on the lower time frames, and now we'll see if we can get it to translate into some bigger time frame stuff, right? Let's take a look at the 60. See gold. Looking like the next supply zone we're concerned with is around 65 or so, right, to the level we're talking about. Let's blow it up for us. And there was a little down channel that we've broken out of. You can see the symmetry starting to actually start to form over here. Here's a little double bottom, and this whole mess over here is coming out over here. So far, we've retraced about up to here so far. And we still have this, this piece of air coming. Okay. The real supply is actually sitting right over here. It's at 65-ish. That's the target for now. So there's another, I don't know, 10, 11 bucks to the upside coming for gold. All right. Still holding mine from Friday. See what happens over here on the weekend. But buy pullbacks in demand up to 65. You have to take profits at 65 because the trend here, George, is still down. Okay, let's take a look. All right, we're channeling down over here. Right, we're making lower highs and lower lows and lower highs and lower lows. And over here, all we have is like a little double bottom. And then we don't really have anything other than a rally-based rally. And we don't have any pivots yet. We don't have any higher lows just forming yet. So the longs, at least on the 60, are still counter trend. All right, and therefore, this is the target. We have to get out over here. After that, if we're able to produce some kind of higher low, then I will, start to re-enter again. But for now, it's longs into 65. That's the target. Okay, if you have a question, go ahead. Yes, George.
Joe, if you go back to that example for just a second, the little where you got plus this sign, you wouldn't consider that a higher high and a higher low? A change of direction on the 60?
No, I'll blow it up for you. Nope. So there, over here, there's a. Let me get my pen out. Okay. So here we have a little push here, but there's no real selling pressure over here. Where's the sellers? This is just a base. I'm not looking at sellers. I'm talking about selling or selling. Not just
okay.
a little tiny candle. So this is really all up, rally, base, rally. Okay, so it's not enough yet for anything to happen. This has a potential maybe to become something. We'll see, but it's it won't be that until we turn around. Who knows? We're not continuing down. I don't know yet. We don't know. So on the chart itself, right now there is no higher low at all. There's just a little bottom, a rally, and then some sideways action. It's all sideways. Right? I can't say the sellers were in control anywhere inside this range. It's just back and forth equal. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
What's doing, Eddie? How are you, man? Eddie, your mic's on, buddy.
Yeah, hi. How are you?
What's going on?
Just to help the gentleman before who just asked that question, when he's in doubt, tell him to squish the chart. So if you squish that one, he'll see that it really doesn't ever move down, and then it becomes a little more clear. You want to see stuff that has some distance. Sometimes when you
that helps a little bit. Yeah, when you squish it up a little bit, you can see that there's no really push down at all. Yeah. Good point. Thank you, Ed. Okay, cool. Next. All right, let's see what we got for the euro. What did the dollar do this week, actually? First, we'll take a quick look at the dollar, and we know that it's sold off, right? And it's due for that sell-off up here. This looks like this supply zone over here is really starting to do something. I mean, we had a reaction here, right? And then we pushed back into it here. We made it higher low over here. Came back to it, but then we got a really strong rejection over here. And we sort of landed ourselves inside of this 240 demand, but that's now like a double top almost a triple top, right? This is looking to me like we're going to do something like this, right back to here. Okay, at least back to 93 and change. On the weekly chart, on the monthly chart, we're in monthly supply, so it takes a little time for that to kick in. The weekly chart has been banging against the supply zone up here. I think we're headed for this little back test over here. So, when we talk about double bottoms or double tops, right? So the way they play out is they retrace to the origin of where it started from, which is, look down here on the 240, it's pretty clear. This is where the double top starts. There's the middle right here. This is the middle. We go back, and then we break the middle and end up where we started from. So we're talking about something down here. There's all kinds of air underneath this thing, okay? Which means that the euro should look like exactly the same upside down, which is calling for longs, right? On the euro back to, I think it was like 119, 120. I forgot exactly. I'm going to go look at it right now. But euro is definitely time to start the longs, okay? I already started, but now it's time to think we're going to get pretty nice pop coming for the euro. Look at all the air sitting up here, right up here on the 240. This is the target for now, back to here. There's our little double bottom here. We're coming back to the middle, right? And air, there's the air. So euro's long into here. You could see the reversal on the daily chart. See that evening star, right? With the big dojis and then the big ERC's little doji in the middle. So we come back in here. We end up back up here. That's the target for now, 19500, 300, somewhere inside this supply zone over here. So longs on euro, okay? As far as the trend is concerned, this has the higher low, George. Higher low. It doesn't have a higher high yet. It has to take out this. So the trend on the 240 is still down. So as is the daily, right? It has to take out this over here. But doesn't mean it's not down on the higher time frames. It's actually, I think, up, if I'm not mistaken. We'll check. I think the 60 had flipped over, if I remember correctly, last week. Go check. Let's go double check that. We're opening up the chart, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit. we go. There's the air that I'm talking about above the middle of 1,800. You can see all that air that's waiting to get retraced. So there's a pretty decent demand over here. We have obviously a little bit of work to do, but we've been doing that on Friday. We're chewing through this supply zone right now. Above that, we'll get another pause over here someplace, and then it's just moonshot right through the top. As far as the trend is concerned over here, this is already flipped over to an uptrend. Let's see. Over here, pivot over there. This was up, and then we did drop base, drop base. All right, drop. It looks like this is an uptrend already to me. Okay, this is already up, and therefore, yeah, buying pullbacks in demand. There is the target of 1.9 plus up here someplace. Okay, that's what we're aiming for. Let's take a look at the 15. Let's zoom out a little for you. And so there's some nice demand over there. I don't know if we're going to get there or not, but that's really a good spot to join. Otherwise, well, there's some other things that'll be developing as we create new highs. Then you start looking maybe over here in this area where we took out these prior highs and we're basing on top of it now, right over here. I'd like to see a little push up first before we do that, but that will become potential. Otherwise, wait for something over here. Okay. Target 1,950. So a big move for euros coming this week. All right, that's that. Let's go take a look at the nat gas, which has been just I don't think I've made a trade in nat gas in the last 2 or 3 weeks. It's just chopping the hell out of everybody. You could see it on the weekly chart. All these massive up and down moves over here. And it's just a flag at the end of the day. So right now, we made this new high back here, up there, like 2 days back, and then a total rejection, right? And that same day, just shot down, and now we have the lower highs. I think it's time to start testing down a little bit further, back to this 2.8 area. But again, the double top is here. You can see it. Okay, it starts back down here, so that's at least where we're talking about 2.880. And I'm talking about even below that afterwards. But so for now, there's just, 2.8 back to the bottom of the origin of the move. That should bring us down another 100, another 30 or 40 down. But the ultimate target will be about 100 points down from where we are, down over here inside this 2810 area on the daily chart for now. There's going to be some resistance, obviously, right around here. If you look what we got going on, it's basically inside this demand zone over here. And if you look at it, you're seeing the 50 average, the 200 average, the bottom of the Bollinger Bands. It's all right there, and it's also the lows of all these candles over here, right? So we're going to push down into that, which is basically this zone, which is pretty much the end of this little, double bottom thing. And then we'll have to have a little reassessment if it's going to bounce first and then break it or not. But for now, I would say we're looking at least down into this thing, right? And then after that, potentially more. We'll have to reassess as we get down there. So weakness is what we're calling for nat gas over here. There's our little 60 chart. There's a nice supply zone as well. Let's put that on. So yeah, this little tight ass doji right over here. There we go. Okay. So we landed inside this little demand over here. It's very small. You can see we're coming back to it. And there's a bunch of air underneath us. There's some wicks and stuff like that. We should be clearing that probably tonight. So watch out for nat gas. Okay, that's that. Let's look at the yen. I think as far as the yen is concerned, I think we're going to see a little pop here coming. Okay. Let's take a look. Let's see. We got lows going on over here. Lower high forming on the daily chart. And it looks like it wants to get back down to this level. Right? And on the weekly chart, it's just been hanging around pretty much for the last, I don't know, month or so, right on top of this demand zone. It's sitting back here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, almost 2 months sitting right on top of that thing, back and forth, pounding around. Are we ready to make a move? Let's take a look. Oh, what the hell was that? I just lost power on my laptop. Give me a second. 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I thought I was plugged in, but I guess I wasn't. Anyway, so JY. Looking at a downtrend on the 60 currently. We've reached some demand. Yeah, it's been pounding just sideways over here for a long time already. All right, we had a bottom back here. We rallied up, and then we went through this long period over here of this channeling crap over here. So we've hit the bottom again. Is it time to turn around? Yeah, based on what we've seen before, yes. Can it get a little bit lower down into this thing? Sure. But you know what? I think the equities are going to sell off, and that's going to give it a little pop here. So I think we're going to see a rally out of this sucker. The trend is still down, so we have some time for it to start. I'm not in a rush to get long just yet, but I'm going to call for longs over here on JY once we start to hold this little bottom around over here. Let's get so we get the trend flipped around. I'm going to zoom in a little bit to where we are currently. There we go. Okay, we're looking at a downtrend, obviously, right? That one's pretty easy to spot with the pivots, coming in here and here and here and here, and all this little downtrend business. So there's the supply right here. It's sitting over here. We got to hit it, make the higher low, and then we can start talking about, pushing back up. I do think we're going to hold this level at this point, though, just because of where we're holding with the dollar and pushing downwards, as well as the equity is going to start to rally. So I think we're going to see some strength coming into the end this week. All right, so see if we get a chance to make a trade there. Okay. Aussie, time to rally, that's for sure. Absolutely time to rally. Okay, look where we ended up over here. We ended up pushing a little bit deeper, almost to the bottom of our weekly supply. And then it started to do this reversal. Here it is. You see it again, the evening star. We have one side of the inverse head and shoulders starting. So we should get back up there, push back down, and then we take it out and go this way. So you could see I was watching this trend line back there on Thursday, Friday. We cleared it. We started basing of a really strong bull flag here. Next move up takes us back to the top over here. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. So strength coming into the Aussie. Okay, and that makes sense because we're looking at longs coming for gold as well, and weakness in the dollar. And so Aussie breaking out a little bit over here. You could see the air sitting here on the 60, right? We had all this garbage going on sideways. And I was waiting for this thing to break and back test. It did on Friday, and then it was just late in the day. I wasn't ready to take the trade, but now we're looking at, something up here at least before we're ready for any serious supply. All this back behind that is nothing. So we should see a pretty strong move out of this, 80 ticks or so for Aussie over there. Then we'll get a back test, and it's probably, I would say, we have a chance to get all the way up here this week, 75 and change. But look for longs. Okay, pullbacks into demand, go long on the Aussie dollar. Okay, and let's go look at the pounds. Again, also landing into some weekly demand, and the monthly candle was a doji, so we'll have to see what that means. as far as our daily chart's concerned, we were in a downtrend, and we got a pretty strong reaction over here. Still no higher low. We would still need a pullback on a higher low before we can start talking about getting anything long over here. There's a new supply zone, actually, I should be putting on over here. Right over here. And for now, that would be, you know, the area we're looking for the pullback to come from. So we get another push up and then push down. This wick over here will come out on this side. Then we're ready to roll. All right, so a little bit of strength coming on over here. We're going to have some serious supply over there to deal with once we get there. Let's take a look at this on the 60/240. There's the 240. So there's a level. You could see that this is in a downtrend, right? Clearly, that's pretty clear at least. Pivots here, right? Over here, and then lower high, lower low, downtrend, and then we have one move off the bottom straight. Right? Hit the supply. What we expect is, if we're going to turn trend around, a higher low, which means we will get a reaction out of this zone. Nothing wrong with taking a short up here. Okay, because that's the trend trade. And the expectation over here is that we were probably going to be holding this little doji level over here, this thing. So we'll watch that as it makes its way back down into here. So short out of this level, watch this zone to see what happens. If it holds, great. You can get out and think about getting long. Otherwise, wait for it. See if it, you know, pushes back into the bottom. Let's see what we got over here. 60 level says what? So you can see that we're starting over here with the rally base, retracing. There's the V. Okay. There's a little V trade here. And coming back, there's the supply. So there's still a little bit more room. And then the back test will come. We'll look at the longs probably somewhere over here. And that's below what we're just calling for on the 240. So wait for that. You could either take the short up here or the long down here. Okay. Cool. That is our pounds. And who's got a question? Yes, George. Go ahead, George. What can I do for you?
Joe, on the BP Daily, you marked out a zone, and above that was a doji that was wicked into. You didn't care about that?
So let's go back. The doji that was wicked into on the daily chart. So I marked off this supply zone over here.
Right.
This is the supply. Okay. So what's your question?
Just above it, there's a doji.
Above this zone? Where are you looking?
Right to the left.
This thing?
Yeah, I didn't go that high, but yes.
This one?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's a different level. There's another level there, but that's going to be level on level with this thing over here. This is the most recent level that made the low down here, right? So if that's the one that has to break if we're going to rally. Right, there's a zone here also.
Well, that's the one I was talking about, yes.
Okay, there's a supply zone there. They're just a little close. I think I have this level down on my smaller time frame charts. So I didn't put it here.
Would you look at that to be a reversal, or you just think that'll slow it up?
What, this thing over here? I don't know if we're going to get there. We have to see what happens when we get to the first zone first.
Okay.
This is the most recent supply zone, and then if we start breaking this zone, then then I'll figure out what we're going to happen over here. But I need to see what the candles look like on this side of the chart before I can tell you what's going to happen to this zone when we get there. I don't know yet. It's impossible.
Okay.
So right now, this is the zone I'm concerned with because that's the one that's the most recent supply zone before the low. And in order for us to rally, we have to break this zone first. Otherwise, that zone gets hit, and then we make new lows, right? So this has to break. Until that happens, I don't know what happens up here. We'll find out.
Okay. Thanks.
No problem. Next. Okay. And we are up to Canadian. So Canadian was looking for like crap for a while. It did make the big drop out of this wedge that I was talking about in the weekly chart. But then we get these big twins over here on this. Let's blow this up and take a look. That the demand gets hit. and we get ourselves a really nice looking engulfing candle in the weekly chart. See that right there? Very strong move for Canadians, considering it doesn't really move as much, right? So that's going to give us some interesting little analysis over here. What do we do with these big ass engulfing twins over here? So let's take a look. Here's our daily chart. Looks like the daily is telling us that we're in a downtrend, but we've just tested the first level of supply, right? And obviously is also the breakout of the channel that we were trading in over here, the wedge. So what we should see if we're going to rally is a pushback and a higher low, right? This is a rally straight off the bottom. This is still a downtrend. The only way to get trend to turn around is to make a higher low first and then a higher high. Well, right now we're at the supply zone and we have no higher lows, okay? So we should expect that this is going to actually push back, and we will find out what the story is when we get back to this level, okay? And we'll find that level on the 60 or 240, but there's a zone right there someplace on some time frame, and that's going to tell us what the story with the Canadian is. If we're able to hold that zone, we're going to call for rallies. If we're unable, we're going to call for a continued selling going on. So here's the 240. Sorry, this is the 240. You see the little double bottom, right? 2 wicks down there. Very nice. Those are the two daily candles, right? With the weekly candles, sorry, to make that engulfer, right? And this is one part of the engulfing candle. The other part here at the red one, the green one. And you see the symmetry going on over here, and we're back to the supply, right? Very clear. Now the question is, well, what happens here? Well, I'm seeing something like this. Which means we should see something like this. And then through the zone, look at the air. Right? So this short here is still a valid short. It's a trade you should take because there are no higher lows here. This is rally, base, rally, base, rally. We're at supply. We should take the short here and see what happens because we don't know if it's going to turn around again. I don't know. Right? I don't know, but I do know that the trend is down and we should be taking the shorts here. When we get back down to this area, then we'll talk if we'll figure out if we want to hold on anymore. But for now, it's a short here, and then it's wait and see here. Right? That's what we're looking for. Because if we do get the flip and starts to rally, we're going to want to be long, and if it doesn't, we're going to want to stay short because it'll break the bottom. Okay, so far I want to see right now a short. Let's take a look here. Canadians have been helped with the big crude rally, so if crude's going to give a little pullback, like we should expect, this should also have some kind of reaction off of that. You could see all this air. There's the supply in the 60. All right, there's the first part of the zone. There's another one just a little bit above us, and here's all the air. There's not even a demand zone over here on this side of the 60, so it's something smaller than a 60 zone that I'm talking about, it looks like. So let's go see if we can find it. And it should be someplace over here on the opposite side of, this mess over here. Let's see where that zone is. Where's the entry? Where is at least the long entry or the target on the short side? Where is that? There it is. Okay. There it is. It's on the 15. Zoom out a little bit for you, but that's the zone. See? There's the messy part over there. There it is. So that's where I want to be looking for the longs, somewhere inside this range. It's a little bit of a level on level. All right, with this part right here, and then this is just under it. This one has the prior highs in it. That's why I chose it. And it's also the lower one. So we're talking about the long around 75,800, or the short a dot higher up. All right, down into here, and then watch this thing. Right, this is the level that we may want to watch. It may break. I don't know. It may get all the way back down here or lower for all we know. But for now, this trend is actually on the 15 up, right? And the 60, forgot to look at the trend. You know the 240 was down. What's the 60? 60 is up. And this engulfing candle here is what's causing me to call it an uptrend, in case you were wondering. All right, so we had a little double bottom. We rallied base, rallied base, rallied right here. There's a pivot right here. Okay, We had a big selling pressure right down into that, and then if you look at the candle, it was even a golfer candle, which means this candle was red also. It was drop-based drop over here, and then it just shot out of the top like a rocket. So there's the lower, higher, low, higher, high. This is trend up. Okay? So for the 60. Cool. All right, so those are Canadians. Let's take a question. And I know there's holidays for Canada and for the U.S. this week. You guys have a holiday Tuesday, Louis? When's your holiday? Tuesday or Wednesday?
Hey, Joe, how are you?
What's up, man? Your holiday is Tuesday?
No, it's actually Monday, tomorrow. It's Canada Day.
Oh, tomorrow's the holiday for you guys. Okay, and then Wednesday is awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, got it.
Sorry, you know what? You answered the question. I was going to ask you actually about Tron on the 60. I should have actually just...
Yeah, so no problem, buddy. And
thanks
a lot. You got it, man. Bye. Okay. All right, let's take a look there. And let's take a look at copper. Oof, 3 weeks in a row. Look at the rejection. Oh, my dear darling. That is ugly as they get. Look at the monthly candle. Mamma mia. Can you say rejection of the highs? Wow. Look at this thing. Boom. So right back down to here. Okay, so now what? That's the question. We've reached the end of the line at this point. Is it ready to turn around? Let's take a look. What's that zone look like? All right. It's pretty good demand, right? We've been banging on top of it for, I don't know, since last year, at least a year. July of 17 was when the zone was formed. And we're banging on top of that. We tried to break out of the wedge. It was rejected. We got a little bit underneath. So the demand is still good. I doubt we break under this level, 28,600. No, without a doubt. But can we get deeper in the zone? Sure. What the hell? Let's see what the daily chart says. Very messy freaking chart. Oh my God. It's ugly as hell. So, you know, this is the whole Trump, China trade war bullshit going on here because the copper is very, very volatile when it comes to Chinese news. So we were rallying, we were selling off, and blah, blah, blah. So demand is still there. I'd have to say we're going to get some kind of bounce out of one of these levels under here. I don't know if it's the first one. The second one is fresh. That one, I would have to really say we're going to, you know, this area over here is a fresh demand zone. This one over here, we know we've been in it a couple of times, reacted okay. It's still moving up, so, you know, we're here again. Should we get under the wick? Probably. So I wouldn't be buying, you know, just based on where we are right now yet. If we got down here, I would buy. So right now it's still looking as I want a leaning short, at least for now. The lower time frames are definitely in a downtrend based on what I'm looking at on the daily chart. No question about that. All right, this big ass red candles all over the place. So, yeah. There's supply in 240. It looks like there's another zone right over here that was formed. This thing over here. That's the most recent one now, and we actually got up into that one somewhat. Right, depending on how you draw it. If you draw it with the, you know, these little doji candles back here, we sort of touched it. So we had a pretty good reaction. We have to see if this is going to create a higher low or it's going to break the bottom. We don't know way to know that just yet. It's already hit the zone. What about the copper on the 60? There's the supply that it hit on Friday. Rallied up into the zone and pushing back and testing over here. So no way to know yet if this is going to create a higher low or it's going to break. So we got to stay short until trend flips over here. That's for sure. It's just very, very strong push down for copper. So short supply. That's the bottom line. I have not been able to make a trade on soy this past week at all. It's just been going totally sideways, bunch of garbage. If you look at the 60, there's just absolutely nothing going on. We had rollover, and then we just retraced the gap. And just, you could see the candles on the daily chart are just little, you know, little doji type stuff. So nothing major going on at all. There was, looks like a big rejection at the end of the day over here on the soy candle over there at the 240. And there's that big rejection. So it had a little breakout. I was watching this thing on, it was on Thursday. Yeah, so there's the trend line that was going on. And we broke above it. You could see that. And we got stuck on top of this little doji and then just took out all the bottoms. So weekend is still going on. The trend is definitely down. No question about that. We want to be short soy. until, you know, it starts holding itself. The zones just look like garbage. There's nothing really worth trading. So we'll leave that alone. The other, when I'm looking at the charts in general, as you know, I haven't seen a lot of great trades. Equity short seems to be the best one, and euro long, I think, is that's probably #1 trade for the week. Let's see. Gold also on the long side, but the euro looks a little cleaner. It's got all that air, that double top that I was talking, you know, double bottom that I was talking about. If I had to pick one trade that I want to really get into this week, that's probably the one, the long one. As far as the bonds are concerned, well, what do we get this week? It looks like we've built a little bit of a higher low over here on the weekly chart. That's starting. Right, you can see that we're inside this, you know, monthly demand for whatever 4 months or so, and it's starting to hold now. Right over here, you can see that we rallied up into the supply, we sold off, and then we created a higher low, which means we should be going back to here. Right, looks like the bonds have a pop coming to the upside. Okay, you can see it clear on the daily. That's what happened. Here's the higher low right here. Right, there's the low. There's the higher low. We start rallying, and now we're back over here. We should be retracing some more, you know, of the selling pressure over here. So bonds look like there's a rally, a couple of points to the upside coming. Interesting. Yeah, there's the higher low, pretty clear on the daily chart, no question about that. That would put us back to the 147, and we should get through it because of the higher low, which means, you know, target for now I would call this 200 moving average right here inside the supply on the daily zone right here, 148-ish or so, right? That's the target. We should see that continue rallying out of here and get up to this level. So 240 says trend is up, and we've retraced that, you know, rollover gap I was talking about. Took a little longer than normal. There's a very nice demand zone if we decide to join the longs. There's a good demand zone over here, 144 and change. If we get back down there. Other than that, we're going to buy something smaller. Let's see, 60 zone or something. Let's see. Here we go. Very nice looking demand zone. Beautiful. Okay. You could see that it was a little flip area, right? Where it was supply over here, and then we came back and we base, and we pop through it, and then we test it. We rally out, and now we're testing again. We had a little resistance in this area. So yeah, right around here, that's where the demand is sitting for bonds, and it's a long, and it looks like 148 would be the target. So that's pretty cool. Nice looking trade. Not bad at all. So long bonds until 148 is the call for the week. Who's got a question? Nobody. All right, so let's just go quick. ES and NQ are looking for shorting supply zones. On crude, we're looking for pullbacks into demand to go long. The euro, that's the trade of the week. That's the one we're looking for. Beautiful long sitting over here. I like this zone down here on the 15 if we can get there. And, you know, the target is that, you know, that bigger time frame little retracement of the double bottom thing over here, looking at 19 right here, this target up here. That's the trade. That's by far the best looking trade of the week. Okay. Anyone else have any questions? Go ahead and ask them. Otherwise, go enjoy the weekend. As far as trading, be careful this week. Monday will be normal. You know, a little bit lighter than what we're used to, but still decent. Tuesday, because of the holiday, there's a half a day session, right? Wednesday is also going to be a disaster. Don't even trade on Wednesday, even though the market is open for half a day. Don't even bother. Forget about it. And then Thursday and Friday should be back to somewhat, you know, better, but still light, only because the first week, you know, the week of July 4th is a very light trading time to go taking vacations and stuff like that. So plan accordingly. All right, everyone else. I'll see you guys. Let's see, what do we do about our weekly webinars? So I don't think we're having one. Potentially we might have one on Thursday. Maybe I'll do that. But we won't have a live trading session. So we'll have a webinar Thursday morning. Yeah, happy 4th to everybody. We'll have a Thursday webinar. And then next week we'll do a double trading session. Okay? All the best. Enjoy the time with the family. See you later. Bye.